E4 and G6 from Magnus Carlsen with black. Is he preparing to fianchetto the rook against Gukesh D, a World Chess Championship challenger? This is the Superbet Rapid and Blitz day 5 and Magnus Carlsen does something unprecedented. More on that later. Chess adoption time. Back to this game. Gukesh goes D4, taking the centre. Magnus doesn't care. Knight C3 and C6, his third pawn push. No pieces out on the board. This is apparently the modern defence, rat defence, accelerated Gurgenidze variation. They're having a laugh with us when they name this chess opening book at chess.com. I swear. Bishop E3 from Gukesh, principled. Knight F6, this is over the board, blitz chess, clock times on the left, and now this is provocative. E5 could come one day, but first Queen D2. This is known as the 150 attack. So named in my neck of the woods, England, because you used to duff up 150 players with this attack. In FIDE terms, that's about 1900 rating, let's say. Somewhere around that range. The moves play themselves. For white, very difficult to withstand the onslaught. Magnus develops a knight. F3 played. And now pawn b5. You have to get some queenside counterplay. There is some nasty stuff on the way. H4, Gukesh not hanging about. Knight b6 from Magnus now. Bishop to d3. And Magnus decides it's time to fight back. He ploughs his own h-pawn down the board. Gukesh castles queenside, and now Magnus, breaking with tradition, fianchettos the bishop and not the rook. This is why he's world number 1. That bishop scything down towards the white king. We get knight h3, and now often you want to hold on to your bishops. But that knight is about to sink its teeth or hooves into g5, so Magnus chops it off the board. Recapturing with the rook, the natural move to preserve the pawn structure. But Gukesh goes with the pawn, very double-edged, does open up the g-file here, covers this square some more, and we'll see his idea. Because after e6, he should now go, say, king b1, queen g2, but he goes f4. This is likely why he took with the pawn, not allow this knight to hop. But there's a problem. He's just killed his own bishop, and pawn to d5 highlights it. Quick as a flash, Magnus pounces, and because of the threat to take here and everything, e5 is best, but once the knight retreats, look how entombed the bishop is on e3. f5 not coming anytime soon unless you want to give a pawn. So rook hg1 played by Gukesh D, and now Magnus should hop with knight c4. Pick up one of these bishops. But what we see instead is bishop to f8, rerouting, but it's actually a blunder. Gukesh finds an amazing tactical shot here. Test your skills. Can you find the best move for white? So the move to play is rook takes on g6. What a fantastic thunderbolt. Now if you capture that rook, here's the follow-up point. You take with check, king e7, and the king is blocked by all of its own pieces, including this pawn. So after f5, the threat of bishop g5 winning a queen or forcing a knight intercept is just unstoppable. You can't do anything, it's going to be game over. So coming back here, Magnus Carlsen jumps with his knight into c4, and Gukesh should take that knight off the board. Then he's doing well. But he now goes wrong. He plays the move of queen to g2. It's such a tricky idea, but Stockfish has a coronary over here. Not the best move, but this is what Gukesh was playing for. If you capture this bishop, which looks like the obvious choice, then there's this amazing resource of rook takes on e6 check. Same theme, the king's really boxed in. Now you check with the bishop, and this time it's the queen that joins the party. Black's got to start giving pieces, and actually this line is still playable for black. Very tricky, roughly level, but white in the driving seat overall. Made the invasion. And if instead of capturing this one, you now take the rook, well, same problems. This time the queen can invade, f5, big problems on e6 and g5. e5. So this is why Magnus didn't take either of the pieces which were offered here. He now plays the move of knight d takes on e5. Exceptional idea. Giving a piece, yes, but if it's captured, this is the problem. You've just freed a square for the king. Now you can take the bishop. This is completely different because when you do this and this and this, the king runs away. It's got a cubby hole. White is just dead lost here. So coming back, we don't see the knight captured. Instead, the rook retreats. Magnus now has the chance to liquidate both sets of bishops for white. He can take a pawn as well. His piece is unraveling. How does he do this? Complete Houdini act at times. Rook f1 now played, looking for f5. So Magnus goes bishop d6, and it's such a tricky move. Classic of his style. If f5 now, well, this bishop hits f4 and you're losing a rook, losing in exchange. So that's why we see king b1. Now castles queenside just in time, and Gukesh switches plans with queen to c2, threatening to take that pawn on b5. And just before we continue with this thrilling game here, big thank you to the sponsors of this video, Chestnut. If you're in the market for an electronic board, then check out this. Electronic chessboards do not come better than these stunning boards made by Chestnut. And this one here is my absolute favorite. The Chestnut Pro, it's got all of the beautiful aesthetics of a tournament size wooden board, amazingly crafted pieces, but then also you've got the online connectivity. You link up your favorite device, phone, tablet, laptop, whatever, and then you can play online on your favorite places, Lichess, chess.com, and also you can analyze and prepare for games, having that over the board feel like you'd have in a tournament, but connected with your apps and therefore getting all of the Silicon Overlord power. But if you literally wanted all that chess engine power and apps built into the board itself, then that's where the Chestnut Evo comes in. Really sleek, beautiful design, tablet on the right hand side. That's where you can see all of the apps that you can access, the teaching materials, and again it creates this really nice combination of over the board chess and feel, but with the electronic features built in. An experience like no other. Truly, I've got both. I love them. So check out the link. It's in the description below. Have a look at the online store and use code EPIC at checkout to get a great discount on your purchase. Now back to the chess. So Magnus goes king b7, responding to this threat. Now we get knight e2, rook hg8, hitting the open file, and pawn to f5. Finally, the break is achieved. This knight covers this all-important square. That's why it span back. Now we get takes on f5. Magnus shouting gobble gobble as he does so. Rook e to f3, intensifying the pressure here. But Magnus just goes rook d7, saying you take me, I'll take you. And that's what transpires. After a couple more moves, rook takes on f5. Magnus picks up here, again gobbling away, and the h-pawn is much more dangerous than this f-pawn, which now drops. Rook c8, great defensive move. Has Magnus blundered a rook? Well, no. Queens can move backwards. Knight c1 now played, headed for this b3 square. Then into c5 or a5. Rook takes on f7 played. This one recaptures with check. Rook c7 blocking, and Magnus would love to liquidate, exchange pieces. He's got a dangerous outside pass pawn. So Gukesh goes rook d6. We get bishop e7. The rook moves once more, and queen e3. Great centralization. This structure a mess. The double Ds not helping out Gukesh. Knight b3 now played. We get takes on a4. Magnus gobbling away on all these pawns. Absolute pawn goblin. Doesn't care. He's now 2 pawns to the good. Check me, do your worst, I'll just take that one off the board. So instead, Gukesh plays for complications with rook e2, low on time, but there's a check. Now the knight's got to step backwards because it was attacked, and Magnus wins another pawn, another gobble gobble. He's 3 pawns to the good. This is terminal now for Gukesh D. He tries rook h2. We get h4, knight e2. He's moribund. Can Magnus put the finishing touches on? The queen hits the b file. Knight c3, pawn advancing. This one's pinned to the king here. So we see queen d1, freeing up the rook to recapture, but Magnus doesn't blunder. Doesn't repeat the antics that he had against Nodebek Abdusattorov. Instead, bishop d6. The rook moves away from the attack. Pawn h3 and the red carpet is rolled out. King a2. h2 takes on a3 finally, but queen captures with check. The king stumbling back, and after king a7, rook b7 on the way. Gukesh D had enough here, because if he tries to bring the rook and block, he loses his knight. There's too many problems. Of course, this is also a massive one, tying up the queen here. And with this victory, it was just one more in a string of 10 victories against super grandmaster opponents. This is adoption territory. 10 in a row. Unheard of in a Super GM tournament. Truly impressive. If you enjoyed, smash subscribe. Maybe hit a like if you're feeling generous. Really helps me out. And for another epic game by Magnus from this tournament, check out the video on screen. Thanks a lot for watching and see you soon.